Charlie Puth is in the house.
Yes, he is.
Hi, Charlie.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I feel like I was here not too long ago.
Yeah, well, we were here for Light Switch. You came
Yes.
to introduce that to the world.
Yes.
And now the album Charlie is here for the world.
Dun, 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 dun.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Simon.
Third studio album, self-titled. Why self-titled for the third album?
It's the most personal work of mine to date, and it is a lot of feelings that I never thought I kind of pushed all these thoughts under the rug and never really addressed them in my music. So for me, it's significant to call it my most personal work to date.
So was it the pandemic? Was it the time alone that caused these thoughts, or?
It definitely had something to do with it. A lot of self-realization of who I was as a person. Therapy works for people, and maybe it'll work for me someday. Right now, it really doesn't. And what works for me is just sitting with my thoughts and music, and having music be the outlet of my thoughts. Because it's funny, every time I'd finish a song, I'd immediately feel better about whatever I was singing about. Like, there's a record called Smells Like Me, it's track 5, about a pretty obvious obsession with somebody. And then when there was nothing left to add musically, the song was done, I was like, okay, I can part ways with that feeling. It started out, that little wham, wham, wham was my voice, and the goal for that day, I had this title in my head. All these songs started with the title, and I had Smells Like Me in mind, and I thought, okay, I'm going to take something really ugly, because the word smell, it's not the easiest word to sing smell.
Yeah, but you don't want stinks like me either. Like, what would be the other one?
Stinks like me.
Stinks like me.
Stinks like me. But I wanted to combine one ugly thing and one beautiful thing. So you have that really ugly noise, like wah, 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 and then in conjunction with, and that's the two unlikelies came together, and that's literally how every song came together on this album, I'd have to say.
So Left and Right with Jungkook.
Yeah.
Number 1 on our weekend countdown on Hits 1.
My goodness.
Such a huge song.
Obsessed
you.
with it. We love it.
Thank
How
you.
did that song come about?
Thank you for the support on that, by the way. That song was done, and I had this gut feeling that I needed a different person's perspective on the song, and I thought, why not one of my friends? So I texted Jungkook, and, with the BTS thing, you got with Big Hit, you got to go through 1,500 people, but they were all it was all a resounding yes. They were really excited to have him part of it, and it's the rest is history. He sent his vocals in. It was the easiest, mixing technique ever. I just dragged and dropped his vocals in, and we were done.
Does he have the perfect pitch quirks that you have?
I think he does, because he was able to recall notes with no reference pitch like I do, and it's the coolest thing. That in itself is cool, but the really cool thing, in my opinion, was being able to communicate with somebody who doesn't necessarily speak English, but I'm able to communicate with them like I speak their language.
Do you ever have, because I know that, music's all around us, and you're super sonically aware of all the sound around us.
Maybe to my detriment.
I just went into the SiriusXM bathroom before you came into our studio,
Yeah.
and they were playing, it was Shining Star by Earth, Wind & Fire. And I'm listening to it. Love that song. Great song.
Great song.
Good classic song.
E minor.
I was wondering, do you ever turn it off? Is it ever just a song in the background, or do you listen to everything and you're like, well, I wouldn't have done it like that?
Everything is there, whether I like it or not. I can just the subconscious mind is always on. So if I am not even necessarily listening for something, it's always on in the background. And if someone like Tony's gonna come up to me and be like, hey, did you hear that? And I'm like, oh, I'll just rewind my mind and then play it back and then tell you what it is.
So you, if you were going to the bathroom and you heard that song, would you ever be like, you know what? Wow, that snare should have been different. They should have modulated that.
Because when we listen,
maybe
when we listen to another radio show, we're like, yeah, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. We're on a nationally syndicated
Yeah, do
radio
you do
show.
that?
I really do believe that everything is there for a reason. I mean, you could say something like about the Kate Bush song, how the snare drums are like you don't even really hear the drums in that record, but for the time period that was super modern, and of course it's been recycled many times and now has been massive again from Stranger Things. So people's musical tastes have evolved, but there's still some nostalgia packed through that. So everything has a purpose, everything has a reason. So I'm not the one to be like, I would have done that a little differently, even though I do that.
So Charlie Be Quiet has to be one of my favorite songs on the album.
Thank you. Track 2. We don't want to show all of our cards and have that person know so much about you. Want to remain like a little bit mysterious, but the catch-22 is that if you have to even do that, they don't end up being right for you anyway.
Right.
Yes,
because
you're playing the game.
But I was playing the game when I wrote this song, and I was telling myself to just play it cool a little bit, but that was forcing inauthenticity. And then when that song ended, I was like, I don't need to be. I don't need to be like that. Let's get to Light Switch, which is track 3, and then it's just like a party, and then I kind of deviate and go back to my old thoughts. There's and then I run. There's a progression. There's this real storyline to this album, and then after Light Switch and kind of forcing myself to forget about that person. And by the way, it's about 2 breakups. One, breakup from a business perspective, parting ways with my prior record label, and a romantic relationship, and both those things ending at a pretty similar time and feeling ultimately like the same thing. First time for everything, going out and experiencing things that I had never experienced before.
Was that really hard?
It was
when both. I mean, those are like.
Oh yeah.
When people go through a breakup, that's massive. You're going through something where these people were nurturing you, they were your label, and a breakup all at once. Like, were you okay?
Yeah, well, I made this album, so I ended up being just fine. But
it's different than a girl also, because there was another girlfriend the next day waiting for you.
I don't even know about it. What's funny is that there wasn't. It was really me in the studio just reflecting on maybe 5-6 years ago there would have been, but for me it was really about just honing in on my craft and like That's Hilarious was the first song to come about from this album, and realizing that I was in a pretty bitter state of mind, and I wasn't addressing it, and it was like a silent heartburn eating me alive, but I wasn't addressing it, so I addressed it. And once I was finished with that song, I was like, okay, I can move on from being bitter. Now it's time to go experience new things. And then you kind of fall back a little bit, and it's like when you're meditating, the person guiding the meditation says don't think, and then the first thing you do is think. You just have to acknowledge the thought and then go back into a state of peace and meditation.
Mm-hmm.
That was done 12 times on this song, on this record, rather.
So we do this with all Charlie Puth music now. You've created this whole phenomenon on TikTok where we all know all the parts and everything.
Sure. What
are some parts and some song pieces that we need to listen for on this album?
Maybe something not super obvious, but since we've played it before, Smells Like Me, there's on the hi-hats, I appropriately did a little...
Your nose?
Little nose breathing in and out, because it actually so a hi-hat is but if you put the little on top of it, and it sounds super cool with the noise gate on this microphone.
We do have great microphones here.
We do have great microphones. It elongates the hi-hat, so instead of it being you do.
So any accidental boogies happen in the recording process?
Maybe on this microphone in particular, but consider it a gift.
I should sell that. Oh my God, you imagine how much money we could make?
Yeah, probably $2.
It was really special over the summer to experience your sister's wedding with you, to be there.
How fun was that?
We had the best time, and it was really sweet to see how emotional you got when she walked down the aisle.
Right. Well, it's full circle. Here I am in a church playing the organ, and I used to, go to church with my siblings, and I used to play the organ, and there I'm watching my sister walk down the aisle playing the organ.
And it's like a moment of like, wow, we're grown up. Do you think about marriage and kids now?
Definitely. I definitely do. I actually feel, I used to think that would slow my musical creativity down, on all honesty, and now that couldn't be further from the truth. I think that could actually... enhance my creativity, just that sense of comfort knowing that there's a companion, someone to go home to, and show my weird music too.
That's so nice.
Look at you all grown, Charlie.
I know. I feel more grown even from when we last spoke in person around the light switch time.
I feel it. Can we
And-
talk about your thirst traps?
Oh boy, yeah.
And then there's the half naked pictures. He's
I love
so
them.
grown up yet half naked on Instagram.
I love my body, clearly.
Yes! We are so body positive here.
I also love being naked.
It's comfortable.
It's thrilling for me. It's kind of like the same feeling you get when you get a massage, and nothing's gonna happen if you don't.
But
But it could.
we're in the neighborhood of happening.
But it's as long as it's in the theoretical neighborhood of how, like, I'm walking around. I walk around my house completely naked. I very rarely wear clothes when I know that I'm home alone. But there are workers that sometimes are fixing a pipe because I have an old house and it breaks a lot.
And then you too.
And then
you're there with the pipes too. And
Jesus.
all of that.
And I'm just walking around. Maybe someone's. I don't know. I get a weird. I don't know why I'm talking about this right now. I get a weird thrill.
I get it. I feel like you've become more comfortable with yourself in the last year, whether it's like you on your Instagram showing your abs or like the booty picture. I loved that one with on the swing. That was like iconic looking.
Well, thanks. I was just more like, it was a very hot day, I think. And I don't know. I just it's very freeing.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, you've done it. I mean, the butt has been fully out.
Yeah.
The abs have been out.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, the next step is full frontal nudity.
Yeah, sure. I don't think so, but I think maybe I'm thinking about like what the next, even though this album literally just came out, I'm not me thinking about what the next one's gonna sound like. But I definitely don't think I'm gonna wait like 4 years for it.
Please, we missed you too much.
Yeah, I mean, turbulent time. I left my record label, went back to the old one in the most unusual move ever, and experienced a lot of first time things. That's why there's a song called "There's a First Time for Everything."
So John Legend was just in our studio a couple days ago.
Yeah,
had very nice things to say about you.
I love.
Well, he's
John
such a lovely guy,
Right?
and such a great musician.
What was that session like?
It was so fun. Well, him and Ryan together is like a sight to behold because both of them are super high energy. They both talk a lot, and they're both friends, and they live really close to each other. So when they get together, you just have to like get them to stop talking so we can work on the song.
Yeah,
But they're fun to be around.
John's all
And
calm.
it was, it's just a lot of talent in the room.
Are you like really talkative in your sessions? And he's like, Charlie.
Is that where Charlie Be Quiet comes from?
Charlie, be quiet. Yeah, telling myself to shut up. Maybe John wrote that. I get when we get something good going, I get really excited. But I'm pretty reserved at first, and then once you open me up, then
You're so fun.
I'm fun. Like at the wedding.
Oh no, you're a blast. My favorite moments that I've shared with you are probably like nights we've had Taco Bell,
Oh,
like gone all in,
What's your Taco Bell order?
everything.
Ah,
The menu.
that's it.
or Chick-fil-A.
Or Chick-fil-A. The building. the brick in the building. Eating everything associated. Yeah, Simon and I have had Taco Bell nights. You and I have not.
Not yet.
Not yet, but maybe.
I'm ready.
Add that to the Cal.
Yeah.
Speaking of John Legend, you're going to be on The Voice.
Yeah, that's right. I'm on. I got the call from Camila. Little bit of a last minute situation. A little bit of like a switch up, but it was. I'm very happy that they gave me that call because I just happened to be in town doing nothing that day.
What do you look for when you're mentoring someone?
Somebody that knows exactly what they want. I look for the same thing in a singer, on the stage as I do for a singer inside the studio. A singer that's not trying to. You can have inspiration, but you shouldn't try and be like anybody else. You don't have to. You also don't have to have the most perfect voice, in my opinion, which is a bit of a juxtaposition because it's literally called The Voice. But I don't know if there was this preconceived notion in the early 2000s, like on other shows like American Idol, like you had to have an immaculate voice. So that's not really true at all. I certainly don't have an immaculate voice, and I am pitchy sometimes when I sing live, but it's about translating to your audience in a musical way. That's the most important thing that I look for on the show that is called The Voice.
And like having that unique tone, like that can be sometimes so much more interesting than having a voice that hits every key and note and.
I actually prefer voices that don't hit every T and every note because it's not the most relatable thing for someone who can't do that. You want, even Demi Lovato, for example, they're like, they can hit every single note under the sun, but I choose to just lay back and just. This Skyscraper is my favorite song ever, and there's no super vocal acrobatic moves in that song either.
Out of young artists right now that are up and coming, who's someone that you respect? Like in top 40 pop.
Ooh, in top 40 pop, I respect Louis Capaldi a lot for being unapologetically himself.
Also taking his clothes off. That's also become a thing.
Yeah, maybe I've provided a bit of inspiration there. I think he came up with that idea himself. I respect everybody on the top 40 charts. I'm very inspired. I wrote Sam Smith the other day. I'm very inspired by that new song of his with Kim Petras.
Yeah.
It has this like a bit of like dangerous kind of like feeling when you put the song on. It's very exciting to me. And they put up the instrumental, and so much of the girth of that record is the vocal a cappella that goes against the instrumental. So when you listen to the instrumental, it's just drums. There's hardly any hi-hats in the song. I don't think there's any hi-hats in the song. And I love the use of chromaticism in his voice and her delivery on her verse. It's just very it's very well thought out and very well planned, and I'm very inspired by all of my friends in top 40.
Oh, that's so nice. I see you walking in the house naked with that song
with Louis Capaldi on, or no, with Sam
Unholy on Sam Smith.
Oh yeah, just swinging.
Body shop.
As long as the doors stay closed, no one's gonna get arrested.
My house is all glass, so that's an issue.
Oh, Charlie.
Right. Well, so since you're on the set with Camila Cabello, the rumors are going to start. Any collaboration going on?
Oh, sure. I mean, I think I wrote something with Camila one time that accidentally leaked, but I don't think that ever is coming out. But I'd love to. I think she's so talented. I love her genre mixing of her culture into pop music. I think that's really awesome.
So back to your album before your record company comes here and strangles the both of us.
Are there exciting to watch?
Yeah. Are there any other songs on this album that you want to make sure that people catch and know about?
I want people to take note of That's Hilarious and Charlie Be Quiet. And there's a song called Marks on My Neck, which is about what it exactly sounds like. But when the memory of somebody fades away, something physical that they left can also fade away too.
The album is Charlie.
It is.
Finally,
Finally,
you're defining yourself for these people.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like I've made this album with millions of people, because of TikTok and Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts or wherever you watch my stuff. I do feel like I've involved everybody in the creation process. It took place of performing for me because due to the pandemic, I couldn't, go out on tour. I thought my career as a touring artist was over. So you perform for people in a different way. But now I get to, it's not the tour, it's not the official tour, but we're going to go, we're calling it the underplays, the one night only underplays. And it's like 7-ish shows where I am going to play for my fans up close. And I think it's nearly sold out, but it's going to be really, really awesome.
Were you nervous about that? About booking and out, like you were saying, you were in the mindset where, okay, touring's over, we're done.
Well, I mean, I'm happy to get back to touring, but I realize that I'm not going to be able to play these smaller venues. I'm happy to say I'm not going to be able to play these smaller venues for much longer. This was just a one-off underplay for the fans. Just one last hurrah before the tour begins next year.
And when does the tour start?
The tour starts. That is a question that I wish my record label was here for. I think the tour starts in the end of October.
Does that make you feel nervous just because for so long you've been used to like being in the studio and like you said performing like just via phone? Like do you get anxiety to go back out and travel?
Not really this time around. I'm just looking forward to nothing as technological advances happen in the world and whatever the next TikTok or anything or whatever the next phone is going to be. the thing that remains the most exciting to me is performing for humans in real life. That's never going away.
You're so phenomenal at it. Oh, I just love you so much. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, I'm so proud of both of you.
You little
I don't know what
bushki.
you've done today, but I'm proud of you.
We made it through Hollywood traffic to get here.
You made it through Hollywood traffic. It's
Yeah.
extraordinary
Good
today.
job.
Congratulations. Everyone go blast the ish out of this.
Yeah, blast the ish out of it. Quoted by Simon. Thank you.
Mazel.
Mazel. Thank you, guys.